recording. Now we got it. Okay. I'm sorry. There's a lot that goes on with these things, and I was going to do something different. And we will do Facebook later for all of you listening. Welcome to Food Freedom Masterclass. I am Kim McLaughlin. And as always, it's always interesting to do these things. We're talking today about food freedom in the Food Freedom Masterclass. And it's called, what I called it is Unlocking Food Freedom, Empowering Emotional Eaters to Rediscover Peace with Food. And that's what we're talking about today. All the things having to do with food freedom. So let's get started. I am excited to have you, that you've chosen to be part of this process. I know it takes a lot for you all to come here live. And those of you that are listening later, it's always interesting. And we always just look to the technical gods to make sure that everything's going well. So here we are. Why might you be here? You might be here because you probably overeat in a way that bothers you. And you might feel out of control with food. You might see food as good and bad, good versus bad food. You find that you deprive yourself and then binge. And that you might see that you eat for emotional reasons. And we're going to talk about that more today, because that can sometimes be confusing about whether you're eating for emotional reasons, but you eat for some reason other than hunger. Also, you might be seeing if you can lose weight. Right? Because that's really part of our national idea, is that we're supposed to lose weight. And you might have felt guilt or about eating, or felt shame about weight gain or eating the wrong foods or eating those bad foods. And so we're going to talk about all that today, because those are big concerns for everybody that I work with. Those are big concerns, and people that I know that are out there listening, that these can be real big problems. So this masterclass, what can you expect today? We'll cover the devastating effects dieting has had on you. And I don't see that word devastating lightly. We will uncover the devastating effects dieting has had on you. Second, we'll look at how emotional eating has set you up to binge. And it's not your fault. You've been set up to binge. And we're going to look at what to do about that. And we're going to look at how your mindset has caused you to look at food in the idea of good versus bad. And we're going to look at other ways to think about food and get that mindset into a different way. And if, I would be remiss, and I've said this before, is I think I'll be remiss if I don't talk about a way to look at food differently and have an offer at the end. So I hope you all are okay that I have an offer for you at the end, because I don't want to talk about food freedom and then we have some solutions, but obviously it's not solutions that will last for forever, and you need other support. So we're going to talk about my program, Emotional Eating Solutions. So we'll talk about that later, but let's first get some stuff going. First, let's talk about who I am. My name is Kim McLaughlin, and I started gaining weight when I was 8 years old, when my parents got a divorce. I didn't know, nobody knew at that time, that there was anything about emotions in food. And so I ate, and it looked like eating was the problem. So what happened, that probably happened to many or all of you, is that I tried many diets, starting with my mom offering me a diet as a young teen. I remember it being like a high protein diet, which is a lot of meat. And I said yes, because isn't that what you're supposed to do when you gain weight, when you have problems with eating or think you have problems with eating? You go on a diet. I then became really obsessed with food and did a lot of yo-yo diets over the years. I found that I would do the same diets over and over again, expecting a different result, and always really blaming myself that I was the problem. I felt bad about myself and had some points of hatred towards myself, that there was must have been something wrong with me. And that was why I couldn't lose weight, or I couldn't control food. And like probably most of you felt is I felt great at the beginning of the diet, that Monday morning. Oh my gosh, pink cloud, everything's wonderful. And then I would lose some weight and then I wouldn't. And I would feel hopeless about it. I would feel upset with myself that I either gained weight, stayed the same, or didn't lose enough. It was never enough. It was never enough. And I really took that as being kind of a failure, a moral failure on my part, that there was something wrong with me. I even found that I gained weight on diets. I followed the diets and I would still gain weight, or I would stay the same for ages. It was really hard and I didn't know what to do until I found intuitive eating. And intuitive eating is something that helps you move out of feeling upset with your body and into a more functional way of being. And we're going to talk more about that today. So the first issue that I want you to consider that we talked about earlier of what the problem is, what one big problem, there's a lot of problems with this whole kind of trying to lose weight, when we have food as a problem, is diet mindset. And I talk about this often. I have a podcast, Feed Your Soul with Kim, and we talk a lot about the diet mindset and really how it's failed you. And I always think this is the first starting point for us wondering what's going on and then what can we do differently. So when we start thinking about what's gone wrong, I think the first thing is figuring out why and how diets have failed you. Because I find this is a really hard concept to embrace, that diets have literally failed you. You think you're doing something wrong. You think there's something wrong. If I did it better, I would lose weight. And what I write here is it's societally expected, even in families expect it, that we're supposed to diet when we gained weight, when we overeat, and when we don't like how our bodies look. So I want you to consider that there is this expectation that we diet and that we lose weight and that we get control over food, right? So if you kind of go with me on the idea that diets don't work, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the beginning or in a minute, but just wonder about whether diets work for you, right? And so if I'm saying don't diet, I'm sure you're out there saying, then what do I do instead, Kim? What am I supposed to do if I don't diet? And the way to get out of this diet cycle is to do what we call intuitive eating. And intuitive eating, what it does is get you back in touch with your body, get you back in touch with that body knowledge that knows when you're supposed to eat, what you're supposed to eat, and when you're supposed to stop. You literally were born with this. You were born knowing how much you're supposed to have, when you're supposed to have it, and when you don't want any more. Think about little babies. Any of you who've had children or been around children, like they cry when they're hungry and they close their mouth when they're full. And they know when they're hungry and when they're full. And we lost track of that for lots of different reasons. And that's what we talk about in Emotional Eating Solutions, is how you got to the place where you stopped listening to your body wisdom. And what I want you to consider is that we have literally been trained by the expansive, expensive, enormous dieting machine that continues to want us to hate ourselves. Think about it. The dieting industry is somewhere on billions. I think it's $60+ billion industry. And it goes, why I don't remember is because every year it goes up. The numbers go up, which I think should make you wonder if the dieting industry, if the amount of money they make keeps going up. To me, that says it doesn't work. It doesn't work. If that's what's going on, if it keeps getting have more, making more and more money, that tells me it's not working. And also by all of our experiences, it doesn't work over time. And we have bought into this mindset that we're supposed to diet. And I know you can hear the passion in my voice about that, because this is something that I have witnessed over and over again. And to some of you, this might be new information that you've never thought of before, because it's like, well, but I'm supposed to diet. I'm supposed to be thinner. I'm supposed to not like my body. And I want to present a different way of looking at it. So let's look at my clients. Let me tell you about my clients. So one of my clients' experiences, I don't like to use people's names because I think food issues are really personal, and I don't like to say people's names. So there's a client, and my clients start to recognize the power of the diets in their lives. We look at their history of dieting, and this is a powerful tool to help explore the question, do diets really work? This is what I do with my clients, is that we look at, do diets really work? And that can be a really interesting experience. So I want you guys in the chat to start writing out, how many diets have you been on and how successful have they been? And I ask that you not put numbers on in the chat, because I'm sorry, weight numbers. So how much weight you've lost. We're not looking for that. We're looking for how many diets, what kind of diets, and give us some information. For me, while you guys are putting that in the chat, for me, it has been, I've had, I think out of them up like 5 different diets I've gone on. And one of them I did over and over and over and over again. And literally every time I expected a different result. Every time I expected a different result, I literally thought it was me, that I was the problem, rather than the diet mentality was the problem. So look, we have some people have been on 5, 10, I can't count. I don't know how many, because often it's been a lot, right? So thank you for all that. And so one of the things that I would like you to leave with is some doables, because I'm all about, let's do something different. And the way to start explore what diets have meant to you is to go through a few questions. And you can take a screenshot of this, take a picture of this, but think back and ask yourself, how old were you when you started to diet? Why did you start to diet? Who encouraged you to diet? And what did it feel like? Because this is an opportunity to start looking at what I think of is the madness of dieting, and how much we do it expecting a different result, and literally blaming ourselves when we don't lose weight, or when we don't lose enough weight, or when we stay the same, or when we gain weight later on after the diet. And that's what we find over and over again, is that there's no long-term results. It's very rare that there are long-term, whatever you lose on a diet, it's difficult to have long-term results for lots of different reasons. But we got to first talk about the dieting. So the second issue that I would love for you to consider is emotional eating. And why is this important? Is really a lot of eating can be correlated with emotions. You might not know that, and it might seem like, well, I wasn't feeling anything. Well, what I find when I talk with people is that there is feelings that have been going on. It's just hard to recognize them. So what people can notice is that food has become a way of soothing themselves. And probably any of you, it was like, food has become the way of soothing yourself and a way to feel better. So we use this food over and over again to feel better. And the problem is food is not meant to be your ongoing tool for self-soothing. So think about it. Every time you have a problem, you feel emotional, you feel upset, you feel angry, sad, lonely, bored, and you eat, you're eating for reasons other than hunger. And food cannot be the long-term go-to for self-soothing. And this I find repeatedly, that it's used for self-soothing and we don't know what else to do. So really consider that for yourself. Could it be emotional eating that's going on for you? And let's see what else we can do. So what are you doing wrong? And people get this part wrong and start dieting when they feel overwhelmed with food and life. So what are you doing wrong is that you feel these feelings, you eat, and then you think, well, I'm supposed to diet. And we've just talked about how diets don't work over the long term and actually set you up to fail. Diets have been the only thing we've known. The only thing we've been told to do is to diet. That's been the only option. I told you when I was 8 years old, I was obsessing about food. I was overeating. I was gaining weight. My parents had gotten a divorce. Kind of makes sense that I would have some emotions. There might be some sadness, some loneliness. We moved away from my dad. I didn't see him for years and years. Probably makes sense that I had some emotions going on. Never talked about it. And this is not about blaming anybody. It's about facts. It's about what was really going on. And what I learned was that the only way to deal with overeating and weight gain is to diet. And there was never a look at what emotions were behind it that were leading me to eat. Diets will never help you with emotions. They won't help you with that. So we move from diet to take care of our emotions. We might feel good at first. We talked about that earlier with diet. It was like, woohoo, it feels so good. And then there's a point where you stop losing weight. You don't lose enough weight. You stay the same or you gain weight. It always happens. And once again, I'm sure many of you have your own stories about that. So what should you do instead is start looking at the emotions. Learning about what emotions happen in you. What's going on? Notice the emotions, name the emotions, and embrace what they have to tell you. And it's also about using proven techniques to deal with your emotions. This is actually why I call my program Emotional Eating Solutions, because we've got to deal with those emotions. And it's one of the many things we look at, but we've got to look at that and start moving food out of the first place of managing our emotions. So I have a client who was able to recognize her feelings and name them. She sees how powerful this is, and it then helps her to decide what to do. The way to move through sadness can be very different than if we're angry. Learning and using your personal ways to move through feelings is critical and moves food out of the position of taking care of feelings. What I like to do with my clients is talk about what the feelings are and then what those feelings are asking of us. Such as if we're feeling sad and we're crying, I think it means we have some sadness that we need to talk about, to maybe journal about, to express through sadness and through just feeling sad rather than eating to take away those feelings. If it's anger, like one of my things with anger is noticing it. I feel clenched up, tight, angry in my body. I feel angry. It would be expressing it, saying it, naming it, and also doing things. For me, anger is more of an active kind of feeling. So I'll often do things like walk around, I'll shake it off, I'll talk about it. I'll kind of have more of a aggravated tone in my voice if I'm angry because I'm expressing the anger that I'm feeling. So each one of us has a different way that we need to express these feelings. And what I like doing is working with people on a wellness plan where you start identifying what feelings are coming up for you and what you can do about it so that you feel empowered to deal with the feelings rather than using food to deal with the feelings. So let's have a chat. So in the chat, I would ask you guys to write down what feelings have led you to eat and to overeat, right? If you could just write those down. And those of you that are watching this on the replay, write it down on your notes. Write down what you're feeling, what feelings lead you to eat and to overeat. We have sadness, loneliness, boredom. Yes, those are huge ones. Stress, yes. Burnout, yes. Lots of feelings. Do you see it? And what's interesting to me from these answers is that it is not one feeling. It's a bunch of everybody has a lot of different feelings that can lead them to overeat. So that means we need kind of a multi-pronged approach to start dealing with those feelings so that we end up not overeating, right? So let's explore. What helps you with the emotions that lead you to overeat? Put that in the chat, please. And anybody who is watching the replay, write it down. What helps you with emotions that lead you to overeat? Okay, so we're journaling. Let me see. Going out for a walk, going and taking a hike. Yeah. Talking to somebody. Yes, that's a good one. Talking to friends, talking to family, talking to supportive people. Yes. So a lot of different things that you can do to help express those emotions, to get those emotions out. So what did I talk about? I talked about walking. I also talked about if they're feelings like boredom, then going and doing something, being active, going out and talking with somebody, getting out of the house and seeing somebody. I know over this time that we've had COVID, there's been a lot more time that we've been inside, and there can be a lot of boredom and loneliness. And so getting out and doing things can be a way to move through those feelings. So we've talked about diet mindset. We've talked about emotional eating. And the third issue that makes it hard to have food freedom is mindset. And this is like the mental part, the mental mindset. And so it's recognizing the thoughts that lead you to overeat is critical. The thoughts that lead you off track, I call it taking you off track. So these are the thoughts that really kind of sabotage you, right? So what are you doing wrong? What you're doing wrong is allowing the thoughts to go unnoticed, unchecked, unquestioned, and unexamined. So this would be an opportunity to start thinking about, what are those thoughts that lead me to eat? And they appear so powerful. Like, I can't not follow these thoughts, right? When you have them, it feels like this entity inside of yourself that makes you have to do it because the thoughts just don't go away. And that's really powerful. So when they go unnoticed, unchecked, unquestioned, and unexamined, that can be a problem, right? So if we start recognizing those thoughts, what do we do instead? So here it is. Listening to your thoughts and recognize when they are taking you off track. This is big. Notice the thoughts that lead you to overeat, to be angry, to engage in behavior you do not like. So first we have to listen to them and recognize that basically I call them the saboteurs, right? The saboteurs are the thoughts that take us off track and take us off of our highest good. And they sound so convincing that you have to do this thing. And I always say, just because you think it doesn't mean you have to do it, right? Just because you have that thought doesn't mean you have to engage in that behavior. But man, those thoughts are powerful, and they really sabotage us from being successful in the way that we want to be successful. So here's my experience. My experience was getting a handle and understanding my thoughts has been a game changer for me. I used to have thoughts that about eating, and I would ruminate, and in the end would think that I had no other choice than to overeat. I literally had the thought, and I wrote it down here on the slide. You know you're going to eat it, just do it and get it over with. This was a thought I had repeatedly, that the thought that, Kim, you know you're going to just eat it, just do it and get it done. And I literally thought, well, if I eat it, then the thoughts will go away. They came back. I had more of them, and they were thoughts that really led me to not be in touch with my body and not be in touch with myself. And I really had, and still have, to notice them and make, not allow them to be so powerful. It's interesting in our emotional eating solutions, and we're going to talk about that in just a little bit, but there are 6 components that we talk about. Let me see: physical, emotional, lifestyle, which is the social aspect, mindfulness, self-love, mindset, and self-love. I think I said all of them correctly. The one that I want to talk about is mindfulness. And that has been the one that I have really utilized a lot to help me with the thoughts, is to be more mindful of the thoughts and to really listen to them and start recognizing, are they for my highest good? And oftentimes those thoughts are not for my highest good. And I have worked a lot on those thoughts to not have them impact me, my emotions, my life, and also my eating. So let's chat. What thoughts have led you to overeat? Right? If you put them in the chat, once again, let's start recognizing what those thoughts are that take you off track. And those people that are watching on the replay, please write it down in a journal. Write it down so you can really get noticing or have recognize what those thoughts are. So some of those thoughts are, I don't like myself. I am overwhelmed with life. This is too hard. I'll never make it. Oh, I'll never get better. Right? Those are lots of thoughts that you guys see that really impact your ability to feel empowered with food, right? It's not about managing food. It's about feeling empowered with food. It's a whole different ballgame. So let's explore. What do you do to lessen those thoughts? Once again, write in the chat what things help with lessening those thoughts. And those of you who are watching this on the replay, go ahead and write what helps you lessen those thoughts, right? Okay, good. Lots of good information about lessening the thoughts. Positive affirmations. Yes, those are good. When you start introducing different ideas, writing things down in a journal. Yes. Really looking at your mindset and what are you thinking? Yes. I've started to do things around my mindset. I've been using and teaching in my program, Emotional Eating Solutions. I teach about what's called positive intelligence. And this is a way of really centering your mind. And I do a lot of physical techniques and techniques with my head to help really manage my thoughts in a whole different way. So there's ways to lessen those thoughts, lessen the impact it has on what you choose to do. And it manages in positive intelligence, we have more self-control or self-command, right? So you can be more empowered with your thoughts. And that really is important. That's really important. So what have we covered? The dieting mindset, about how to really recognize and look at what diets have done to you, and how have they failed you. And it could be at certain points they were great until they weren't great. The second thing we looked at is emotional eating, and that is about looking at what emotions lead you to eat. What emotions? What emotions do you eat over? The next one is your mental mindset, and those are the thoughts that you think that lead you towards eating, or lead you towards not liking yourself, lead you towards feeling horrible or thinking horrible thoughts about your body, or saying bad things to yourself, right? Those are the three important things to start looking at in order to have food freedom. So those, and then we talked about those useful takeaways with all of those that you can start doing now to start impacting those areas of your life. Oops. So we've gone over these things: the diet mindset, the mental component, and the emotions. And I want you to start thinking about what will happen if you don't do something about this now, because you're here, you're listening, you're thinking about it. But what can happen is that we leave wherever we're at and we don't do anything else. When will you take an approach that has long-term success rather than diet after diet after diet? And I also want to ask you, humbly ask you, if you don't start now, then when will you? When will you? And how many times have you put yourself on the back burner and not had yourself be really in the mix of taking care of yourself, right? Oops. Let me see if we can. So I want you to vision what it would be like. What would life be like if you would wake up and not wonder what you will eat for the day? Oh my God, that's such a big deal. If I woke up and I didn't wonder what I would eat for the day. Also, if you woke up and didn't hate your body and didn't say mean things like, today I'm not going to overeat, or today I'm going to exercise for 2 hours, right? What if you woke up and didn't wonder about what you would eat, woke up and didn't hate your body, right? What would it be like if you ate foods when you're hungry and stopped when you're satisfied? Oh my gosh, really? Those are game changers. From everybody I work with, it's a game changer to recognize when you're hungry, eat foods that satisfy you, give you the energy to do the things you need to do, and you stop when you're satisfied. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. And what about if you ended your day not sitting on the couch and binging? That is a huge part of my story. Huge part of my story. Lonely, bored, upset, stressed, overwhelmed. And I would come home every day, sit on the couch, and just eat for the night, watch television and sit and eat. And I don't know if that's any of your story, but it's my story. And I tell you, a large percentage of my clients have that as part of their story. So I know what it feels like. So I want to introduce emotional eating solutions, because we talked about that earlier, that I would be remiss if I didn't give you something to do after we got off of this Zoom meeting, this Zoom webinar. If you didn't have anything else to do and just kept doing the same thing over and over again, it's just not right. We got to get off that hamster wheel going round and around. So what is Emotional Eating Solutions? It is an 8-week self-paced program where you have an online portal where you have access to all you need to finally have food freedom. There are 6 components. I just talked about them a little bit ago: physical, emotional, mental, lifestyle, mindfulness, self-love. Those are the 6 components. And throughout the 8 weeks, we talk about all of those components. And what's cool about the online portal is that you have mini lessons. So I think each little lesson is about 10 minutes. I didn't make long videos because I don't like long videos. So you have little videos that you can take in bite-sized chunks and learn different tactics and techniques and have a doable to start doing it differently. This program is super affordable at $297. Super affordable. And you have access to the program for the lifetime of the program. So as long as I have emotional eating solutions, you can keep coming back. Anytime I have live rounds, anytime I have extra bonuses, you guys get in on it. So it's really an opportunity because of doing it over and over, because I find that I need to go back and relearn or rethink about it or take it at a deeper level, that kind of pulling apart the onion, right? So why you should do this now, why you should join this now is you're joining at the best time, because we are starting a live coaching round starting October the 3rd or October the 23rd, and it runs for 8 weeks. So it means each week you have weekly coaching support from me live. And we talk about what's going on for you. We talk about what you need. We talk about where in the program you're feeling confused and how to fix it. And you get doables. I'm all about action and doing something different. So you get that weekly support and coaching. I don't do this normally. This is unusual. And I wanted to do this right now over the holidays, because this will take us through October, November, and December. So you are in the program over the holidays, and I'm there as your coach, your live coach. Normally in Emotional Eating Solutions, we have one coaching call a month. Now you have it weekly for 8 weeks. And this is a huge bonus. And so, for 8 weeks, you can come live on the coaching call. The other good thing about it is that if you can't come live, send me in your questions and I will answer them live, and I will get you the recording, the video, so you can watch and you can get your questions answered. So this program is for you if you try diet after diet and still feel out of control with food. And then this is the place for you. If you've tried a lot of diets and you want to get off that roller coaster and get out of the confusion and overwhelm that comes with dieting and feeling out of control with food, this is the program for you. And it's not for you if you don't think you have a problem with food and overeating, and you don't think dieting has been a problem for you, or if you're satisfied with the way that you're eating and feel about your body. I know that even if you don't have a problem with food, I suspect you got some good information today, and that some of this will resonate with you. But then the Emotional Eating Solutions is just not, it's just not for you. And that's okay, because I only want people in the program who resonate with the program. So here's some questions that people ask about the program, because I want to make sure that you're making a really good informed decision. How much time do I need to dedicate each week? So you get access to one component each week, and it takes about an hour. There are sometimes 4 or 5 little 10-minute videos. And so you listen to a 10-minute video, and then you can go to the next one. You can play them all at once, or you can do it throughout the week. So it takes about an hour to move through the videos every week. And you really should put time in your schedule each day to do the homework. A lot of times it's about noticing feelings, noticing hunger and fullness, and start recognizing what are your right foods. And also during this bonus period, starting October the 23rd, then there's an extra hour that we have for the live coaching round. Another question, can I join at another time? Absolutely. You can join whenever you like, but there are a couple of things for you to consider. Why would you wait? I mean, that's what I want to ask you. Why would you wait? And what are you waiting for? And when are you going to be important enough to get that peace with food? So I wonder, why would you want to wait? And the weekly live round is only offered now, and I don't know when I'll do it again. It's definitely the last time I'll do it this year. Next year, I don't know, but we will next year. We'll go back to having our monthly coaching calls. So I don't know. Yes, you can join at another time, but why? I want to sleep on it. Can I decide tomorrow? Absolutely. It's not those fast acting bonuses where Either you sign up today or the bonus goes away. No, well, the bonus will go away when we're done with the live round, which will be in 8 weeks. It'll be in the middle of December. But why would you wait? That's what I want to know. What are you waiting for? And I wonder if those thoughts about sleeping on it and deciding tomorrow is about that negative sabotage thoughts, that those ones that stop you from doing things that will be in your best interest. So those are questions to ask yourself. Another one that people ask me is, I need to speak with my partner before making this decision. Can I talk to them first? Again, yes, of course you can, but why are you waiting? And is this a sabotage thought that's stopping you from moving forward in your right and perfect direction for your wellness? Will this offer be repeated? I talked about this earlier. I'm not planning. No, I don't think so. I don't know if I'm going to do live coaching round next year for emotional eating solutions. So this is really the time I'm going to do it. And once again, why would you wait if this is the only time that we're offering it, and that we're offering it over the holidays, I think is huge, because it gives I was thinking about how huge this is, like the opportunity to get coaching support over the holidays to help you manage food differently, to be with food differently, to feel empowered with food is priceless. I can't start immediately. Can I start later? So the price will be increasing the first of the year, and I'm not sure once again where I'm having the live round. And even if you start now and you have access to the program for the life of the program. And I wonder, when will you put yourself first? Because I know what I'm going to hear people say is, you might be saying, well, the holidays are coming up. I'm really busy. Really? Are you? And when are you going to be important? That's what I wonder. So just kind of consider that for yourself. So a customer review is what she stated. One of my clients said, from this program, I've noticed a lot of subtle changes. My body image has completely shifted. I was looking in the mirror this morning and I did not love what I saw, but I did not hate and despise what I saw. And funny, just this thought this morning, wow, when did that happen? And I could look at myself in the mirror without shame and disgust. Wow, that gives me shivers. That's so powerful. They also said, my relationship with food is changing. I'm more conscious of why I'm putting food in my mouth, and it's not always making a difference or stopping me from being bored or tired or confronted eating, but I am at least conscious of it rather than unconscious, right? It's not a straight line up where you get it all, where it just all makes sense, but there are things that you can do different every day to have more peace with food, to have more food freedom. Here's another one. In one session, they asked me, will I ever get over the dreaded idea of eating healthy for the rest of my life, of having to say no to myself all of the time? And in a reassuring tone, you said, yes, and have faith. They said those words made an impact. And I shifted my thoughts, hoping one day I won't be disappointed with eating healthy. Wow. Another said, I learned that I have a very hard time sitting in discomfort and meditating. Eating soothes me and prevents me from sitting with my feelings. I really loved all the things Kim said during the calls. Everything was very useful, helpful, and relatable. I learned so much. So I want to say thank you for joining us. I'm going to send out with the emails. I'll send out a link to sign up for Emotional Eating Solutions, the self-study course. It includes the live round. If you go to feedyoursoulunlimited.com, there's a tab that says work with Kim, and it has Emotional Eating Solutions there. Sign up now. You automatically get into the live round, and the live coaching is going to be epic. It is going to be so good. So feedyoursoulunlimited.com. Those of you that are watching later, go to your emails and you can see the link to sign up now. Let me get out and stop sharing. I really want you guys to be successful, to know that really you got this. And I am so grateful that you've been here to listen, and I want to support you and I want to be your coach. So thank you for joining me. This is Kim McLaughlin from Feed Your Soul Unlimited. Thank you for being here for Food Freedom Masterclass. Bye, you guys.